First Contact and Ultimatum. The view screen on the bridge of the HSS Curiosity flashed from standard blue to urgent red as alarms blared throughout the ship. Captain Alina Reyes straightened in her command chair, her weathered face betraying nothing but calm focus despite the unexpected alert. "Report," she ordered, her voice steady and clear. Commander Kai Chen's fingers danced across the tactical console. "Unknown ships, Captain. 5 of them, massive signatures. They've appeared from nowhere." His voice faltered on the last word, professional decorum briefly overcome by genuine surprise. "Nowhere, Commander?" Reyes raised an eyebrow. "Yes, Captain. No warp signatures, no distortion fields. They simply materialized approximately 10,000 kilometers off our port bow." Dr. Maya Okafor, the ship's xenobiologist, abandoned her science station and approached the main view screen. "Those aren't human designs," she said, stating the obvious as the image resolved to show 5 crescent-shaped vessels with iridescent hulls that seemed to shimmer between silver and blue. "First Contact Scenario," Reyes announced, triggering protocols that had been theoretical until this moment. "All stations, yellow alert. Lieutenant Harper, open all standard greeting frequencies." Communications Officer Sarah Harper nodded. "Frequencies open, Captain, broadcasting First Contact Package Alpha." The bridge crew held their collective breath. Humanity had ventured beyond their solar system only 30 years ago. They had found ruins, remnants of ancient civilizations, but never living aliens. Until now. "Captain," Harper's voice broke the tense silence. "They're responding." The view screen shifted to reveal a being that caused Dr. Okafor to audibly gasp. The alien had 6 eyes arranged in a hexagonal pattern on what appeared to be a head, its skin a mottled green-gray with patches that pulsed with bioluminescence. When it spoke, a series of clicks and whistles emerged that the ship's translation matrix struggled to interpret. "Unregistered vessel," came the translation, slightly delayed. "You have entered Galactic Concordat space without authorization. Power down your systems and prepare for inspection." Captain Reyes stood, smoothing her uniform. "This is Captain Alina Reyes of the human stellar ship Curiosity. We were unaware this region was claimed territory. We come in peace and welcome the opportunity for diplomatic exchange." The alien's 6 eyes blinked in an unsettling pattern. "Ignorance of Concordat law is not exculpatory. You will power down immediately. Compliance is mandatory." Before Reyes could respond, the ship shuddered violently. "Energy field, Captain," Chen reported, urgency in his voice. "They've locked onto us with some kind of tractor technology. Our engines are offline." Reyes maintained her composure. "Continue diplomatic approach, Lieutenant Harper. Inform them that forced boarding constitutes a hostile action under human law." Harper tried, but the alien had terminated the connection. Minutes later, the ship's sensors detected a localized distortion next to the main airlock. "They're coming aboard," Chen said grimly, hand moving to his sidearm. Reyes shook her head. "No weapons, Commander. Not yet. Let's see what they want." The boarding party consisted of 7 different species, each more alien than the last. The leader was the 6-eyed being from the communication, flanked by what appeared to be guards. Tall, spindly creatures with exoskeletons and what might have been weapon appendages. "I am Salter, Enforcement Admiral of the Galactic Concordat," the 6-eyed alien announced without preamble. "Your vessel and technology will be inspected for compliance with Concordat regulations." Reyes stood her ground. "Welcome aboard the Curiosity, Admiral. I'm afraid I must point out that boarding our vessel without permission violates multiple human diplomatic protocols." "Protocols?" Salter made a sound that the translator interpreted as derisive laughter. "Pre-Concordat species do not establish protocols. They receive them from the Concordat when deemed ready." Dr. Okafor stepped forward. "Pre-Concordat species." A different alien, this one appearing almost crystalline in structure, responded. species that have not yet been evaluated and approved for interstellar travel. Your presence here indicates an unauthorized technological leap. Most concerning. Reyes kept her diplomatic smile fixed. We've been traveling the stars for 3 decades. This is the first we've heard of any Concordat. Impossible, stated another alien, this one floating slightly above the deck, its body a swirling mass of what looked like colored gas. We monitor all developing worlds. Yours was classified as at least a century from achieving viable interstellar travel. We're quick learners, Reyes replied with a slight shrug. Admiral Salter made an impatient gesture. This discussion is irrelevant. By Concordat law, your species must immediately submit to evaluation and oversight. Your drive systems appear to function on principles outside approved physics. This is highly irregular and potentially dangerous. The crystalline alien moved toward the nearest computer terminal. We will begin by accessing your technical databases. I'm afraid I can't allow that, Reyes said firmly. The aliens froze, clearly unused to refusal. Perhaps, said Reyes carefully, you could explain exactly what this Concordat oversight entails. Admiral Salter produced a small device that projected a holographic document with text scrolling endlessly. Standard integration procedures for pre-Concordat species. Your world will dismantle all unapproved technology. You will receive approved technologies according to the proper development schedule. After approximately 200 of your Earth years, you may qualify for probationary membership. Commander Chen coughed to hide what might have been a laugh. Dr. Okafor didn't bother concealing her incredulous expression. 200 years of technological supervision, Reyes clarified. And after that, perhaps another 300 years until full committee voting rights on minor councils, said the gaseous alien, as if offering a generous deal. Reyes nodded thoughtfully. I see. And if Earth were to decline this generous offer? The alien stared at her in what appeared to be genuine confusion. Decline, echoed Admiral Salter. There is no declining. The Concordat has maintained galactic stability for 15,000 years through proper regulation of technological development. Your compliance is not optional. And if we resist? Chen asked bluntly. The spindly guards shifted their weapon appendages subtly. Resistance would necessitate immediate pacification measures, said Salter, for your planet's own protection. Reyes maintained her calm expression, but her eyes had hardened. Before we proceed further, perhaps you'd like a tour of our vessel, since this is a significant first contact moment for both our peoples. The aliens conferred briefly before Admiral Salter nodded. A brief familiarization would be acceptable before we begin technology assessment and decommissioning procedures. Excellent, said Reyes. She tapped her communication badge. Reyes to bridge. Inform Earth that we've made first contact with representatives from something called the Galactic Concordat. She paused, looking directly at Admiral Salter. And tell them we may need to implement Protocol Avalanche. If the aliens recognized this as a coded message, they gave no indication. But Commander Chen straightened almost imperceptibly, and Dr. Okafor's eyes widened slightly. As Captain Reyes led the aliens through the corridors of the Curiosity, she noted how they reacted to everything. Their disdain for what they clearly considered primitive human technology, their confusion at the casual interactions between different ranks of crew members, their growing frustration at systems they couldn't immediately access. They reached engineering, where Chief Engineer Rajan Sharma waited beside the ship's drive core. A gleaming cylinder of what appeared to be opaque crystal surrounded by intricate machinery. This is our propulsion system, Reyes said simply. The crystalline alien moved forward, scanning the drive with some kind of device. It made a sound that seemed alarmed. This configuration violates at least 5 universal constants of physics. Sharma looked genuinely puzzled. Which constants? The gaseous alien pulsed brightly. The limitation of subspace coherence. The law of trans-dimensional entropy. The quantum uncertainty principle across folded space. Oh, those, Sharma interrupted with a dismissive wave. We don't use those. The aliens seemed stunned into silence. "You don't use universal constants," Admiral Salter finally managed. "We found different approaches," Sharma shrugged. "Your constants only apply if you accept certain assumptions about the nature of spacetime. We questioned those assumptions." "This is worse than we feared." Salter turned to Reyes. "Your species has somehow stumbled upon dangerous methodologies that bypass proper physical limitations. The risk of catastrophic failure is zero," interrupted Sharma, calling up test flight data on a nearby console. "We've conducted over 3,000 tests without a single anomaly. The drive is perfectly stable." The aliens conferred among themselves, voices rising in what seemed like alarm. Captain Rice watched them calmly, until Admiral Salter turned back to her. "This inspection has revealed disturbing irregularities. Your ship must return with us to Concordat space for complete evaluation. Your drive system will be deactivated, and your vessel will be towed." Rice's pleasant expression didn't change, but her voice took on a firmer edge. "I'm afraid that won't be possible, Admiral. The Curiosity is an Earth vessel on a sanctioned mission. We cannot divert to Concordat space without proper authorization from our government." "Your government has no authority here," stated one of the spindly guards flatly. "You are in Concordat space. Compliance is mandatory." Reyes exchanged glances with Commander Chen, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. "Let me be clear," said Reyes, her voice still diplomatic, but with unmistakable resolve. "We came in peace and remain open to establishing relations with the Galactic Concordat, but the Curiosity will not be surrendering to Concordat custody, nor will Earth be dismantling its space program." Admiral Salter seemed to grow taller. "You have no choice in this matter. Our flagship has your vessel in a molecular stasis field. You cannot escape." Captain Rice smiled. "About that." She tapped her communication badge. "Rise to bridge. Execute Protocol Avalanche, Phase 1. Before the aliens could react, the lights on the Curiosity flickered momentarily. A subtle vibration ran through the deck plates. On the engineering displays, they could see the massive Concordat vessels still positioned around them, but the energy readings that had indicated their tractor technology had vanished. "What have you done?" demanded Admiral Salter. "A simple phase inversion of your stasis field," explained Sharma. "We analyzed its quantum signature and found a way to disrupt it by inverting the polarity of the subatomic level." The aliens stared in stunned silence. "Now," said Captain Rice, her voice calm but unyielding, "I suggest we start our relationship over as equals rather than as rulers and subjects. Earth is willing to establish friendly relations with the Galactic Concordat, but we will not be surrendering our sovereignty or our technology." Admiral Salter's 6 eyes blinked rapidly in what might have been anger or fear. "You do not understand the forces you are dealing with, human. The Concordat maintains order across 15,000 star systems. Your single ship and primitive world cannot stand against us." Reyes nodded to Commander Chen, who activated a tactical display. It showed dozens of additional human ships that had just appeared at the edge of sensor range, having arrived silently while the Concordat delegation was touring the Curiosity. "We thought you might say that," said Reyes. "That's why Earth sent reinforcements. Humanity's counteroffer, the Grand Conclave Chamber on Silorax Prime, was designed to intimidate. Its colossal dome stretched nearly a kilometer above the assembly floor, supported by columns of living crystal that hummed with energies older than many civilizations. The chamber was arranged in 15 concentric rings, each representing one of the founding species of the Galactic Concordat. At the center stood the speaker's dais, where only the highest-ranking officials could address the full assembly. Today, the chamber was filled beyond capacity. Representatives from over 500 species had gathered for what the Concordat elders had called an emergency session regarding the human anomaly. Supreme Concordat Administrator Silorax, a direct descendant of Admiral Salter, who had first encountered humans 6 cycles ago, stood on the speaker's dais. His 6 eyes swept across the assembly, bioluminescent patches pulsing with what those familiar with his species recognized as agitation. The human containment protocols have failed, Thylarex announced, his voice amplified throughout the chamber. Despite our blockade of their system, despite our technological interference measures, the humans continue to develop restricted technologies at an alarming rate. Murmurs spread through the assembly. Most species present had only heard rumors about these strange beings who had somehow achieved interstellar travel without Concordat guidance. 6 cycles ago, Thylarex continued, we discovered human observation devices in 23 restricted sectors. 3 cycles ago, we detected quantum signatures suggesting their vessels had briefly appeared near Concordat research facilities before vanishing again. They are studying us, learning our weaknesses, while refusing all official communication. The Zolic representative, a being composed of swirling crystalline structures, spoke from the third ring. Why not simply eliminate the problem? Their world is but one, their ships few. Their ships are difficult to track, admitted Thylarex, and direct aggression would violate our own founding principles. Suddenly, a low hum filled the chamber. Concordat members looked around in confusion as the sound grew louder. The crystal columns began to vibrate slightly, their harmonics disturbed. Without warning, 50 points of light appeared around the chamber, quickly resolving into holographic projections of human ships. The images showed vessels of various sizes and designs, all clearly of Earth origin. The Concordat security forces immediately went on alert, weapons drawn, though they had nothing to aim at but holograms. Then a new hologram appeared directly on the speaker's dais beside Thylarex. The image of a human female in a formal military uniform, with gold insignia on the shoulders. Greetings, Galactic Concordat, the human said, her words automatically translated by the chamber systems. I am Admiral Elena Reyes of the United Earth Defense Force. I apologize for the unconventional entrance, but your communication restrictions left us little choice. Thylarex's bioluminescent patches flashed rapidly in anger. This is an outrage. How did you breach our security? How are you projecting these images? Admiral Reyes smiled slightly. The same way our actual ships have just appeared in orbit around Thylarex Prime and 49 other major Concordat worlds. The chamber erupted in chaos. Concordat members shouted questions and demands. Some fled toward the exits. Thylarex raised his appendages, calling for order, but the panic was spreading too quickly. A loud tone sounded throughout the chamber, momentarily stunning everyone into silence. Admiral Reyes nodded in appreciation. Thank you. Now, to answer your question. Supreme Administrator, we're using a technology we developed called quantum ghost projection. It allows our ships to partially exist in multiple states simultaneously, effectively becoming invisible to conventional detection systems. The Zolic representative's crystalline structures vibrated in disbelief. Impossible. Quantum states cannot be maintained at macroscopic levels. So we were told, Reyes responded. We found that limitation to be optional. On the main view screen of the council chamber, images appeared showing human ships in orbit around Thylarex Prime. The planet's defense grid showed no alerts. As far as the automated systems were concerned, nothing was there. 6 years ago, Reyes continued, your delegation attempted to force our species into subservience. You demanded we dismantle our technology and submit to centuries of Concordat guidance. Today, we're here to present our counterproposal. A different human appeared beside Admiral Reyes, a tall man with dark skin and formal diplomatic attire. I am Ambassador Marcus Chen, representing the United Earth government. Earth proposes a mutual recognition treaty between humanity and the Galactic Concordat, acknowledging both as equal sovereign entities. Thylarex had recovered enough to respond with outrage. Equal? Your civilization is barely a millennium old. The Concordat has maintained galactic peace for 15 millennia. Age does not automatically confer wisdom, replied Ambassador Chen calmly, nor does it guarantee the best approach to governance. Admiral Reyes gestured, and the holographic display changed. Now it showed detailed schematics of Concordat defense systems, power grids, and communication networks. During the past 6 years, we've studied your infrastructure extensively, she explained. We've identified numerous vulnerabilities and inefficiencies in systems that haven't been fundamentally updated in thousands of years. The Marixian representative, a being of swirling energy contained in an environmental suit, moved forward. Unlike most Concordat members, it showed curiosity rather than fear. How could you possibly gather this much data in such a short time? Human innovation, said Chen simply. While you were trying to blockade our system with ships we could see coming light years away, we were developing ways to observe without being observed. Ambassador Chen stepped forward again. The Concordat has stagnated. You've mistaken stability for progress. While you've been enforcing the same technological limitations for millennia, we've been asking questions you stopped asking long ago. The chamber had grown quieter now, with many Concordat members listening intently despite their initial panic. This is the part where you threaten us, I assume, said Silarex coldly. Not at all, replied Chen. We're offering partnership. Earth has much to learn from the Concordat's experience, and the Concordat has much to gain from human innovation. Admiral Rice nodded. But we will not accept second-class status. We will not dismantle our technology, and we will not wait centuries for the privilege of being heard in this chamber. An older Concordat member, one of the gaseous beings from the third ring, moved forward. Supreme Administrator, perhaps we should consider their proposal. These humans have clearly mastered technologies we declared impossible. There might be value in this exchange. Solarex's 6 eyes narrowed. They are children playing with forces they don't understand. Their reckless approach threatens the stability of the entire galaxy. Does it? Asked Admiral Rice. She gestured again, and the holographic display changed once more. This time it showed hundreds of additional human ships positioned throughout Concordat space near important facilities, valuable resources, and key transit routes. These vessels have been in position for months, she said quietly. If we meant you harm, you would know it by now. The chamber fell completely silent. How? Began Tylarex, but couldn't finish the question. Same technology, larger scale, said Reyes. We can deploy our entire fleet anywhere in Concordat space without detection. But we haven't interfered with a single Concordat operation. We've simply been observing. Ambassador Chen's voice was gentle but firm. The galaxy is large enough for different approaches to coexist. Earth doesn't wish to overthrow the Concordat. We simply refuse to be subjugated by it. The tension in the chamber was palpable. Supreme Administrator Tylarek stood frozen, all 6 eyes fixed on the human holograms, his bioluminescent patches darkening with emotion. Finally, a voice spoke from the first ring, one of the founding species representatives. What exactly are you proposing, humans? Ambassador Chen stepped forward. A new relationship, not rulers and subjects, but partners. The Concordat has maintained a form of stability through control and limitation. We offer a different path, innovation tempered by wisdom, progress guided by experience. We've established an observation post in the Arcturus system, Admiral Rice added. We invite Concordat representatives to visit, to see our technologies firsthand, to understand our approach. And if we refuse, asked Tylarex, then we continue as we have been, Rice replied simply. Earth will develop its own path among the stars, but we would prefer cooperation to isolation. The chamber remained silent as the implications settled over the assembly. For 15 millennia, the Concordat had maintained its position through technological superiority. That advantage had vanished overnight. After what seemed an eternity, the Marixian representative spoke again. I will go to this Arcturus station. I will see these human innovations for myself. Other voices joined, curious, cautious, but increasingly willing to consider something new. Tylarex watched as, one by one, representatives from across the Concordat indicated their interest. His bioluminescent patches finally settled into a steady, cooler pulse. "Very well," he said at last. "The Galactic Concordat will send a delegation to your Arcturus station. But know this, humans, if your technologies truly threaten galactic stability, we will take action, regardless of your ghost ships." Admiral Reyes and Ambassador Chen exchanged glances before Chen responded. "We welcome scrutiny, Supreme Administrator. We believe you'll find that human innovation, properly applied, strengthens rather than weakens the galactic community." The holographic images began to fade, but Admiral Rice's voice lingered in the chamber. "We look forward to a new era of cooperation, Concordat members. The universe is full of mysteries that neither of us has solved alone. Perhaps together, we'll discover answers neither of us could imagine." As the holograms disappeared completely, the Grand Conclave chamber erupted into countless conversations, arguments, and debates. For the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Concordat faced a force it could neither control nor dismiss. In the observation lounge aboard the HS Defender, cloaked in orbit around Silorax Prime, Admiral Rice and Ambassador Chen watched the reaction through their surveillance systems. "Do you think they'll actually come?" Chen asked. Rice smiled. "Curiosity is a powerful force, Marcus, even for species that have forgotten how to be curious. And if they try to use this opportunity to strike against us, then they'll learn another lesson about humanity," Rice said quietly. "We prefer friendship, but we excel at survival." Far below, in the Concordat chamber, the future of the galaxy was being rewritten, not through conquest or subjugation, but through the simple human refusal to accept limitations imposed by others. Human ingenuity had once again changed the rules of the game.